Do you know what I did yesterday? I had a bit of a flip out, and this is piggybacking off the last time I talked to you guys. I was talking about my weight loss, and I had such a beautiful, calm outlook on it, and I'm quite proud of what I said there, even though I don't even think anybody's ever even listened to it. I still am granted a fair amount of peace just because I'm doing this. I'm saying these things, and I'm doing this for myself. Um, I said something so poignant, and the frustration that it feels to take forever to lose weight that I spent a lifetime putting on, and it's so irritating to me that it's taking a long time. We're coming up on a year of my effort, and I'm only halfway there, and that's really, really frustrating and difficult. And I don't have the patience and the everything that I feel like I should have to be able to accomplish it in a calm and peaceful manner because I don't. And I said in my frustration, I was like, I want to fucking rip my skin off so that I'm nothing but muscle and bone and then scream to the world, is this thin enough for you? Just because, gosh, everything was upon me, everything. And I just felt so frustrated because on top of every other thing that I have to worry about, being a mother, being a wife, with all of the things that those things come into without going into crazy details that would like dox my family, I will tell you that it is incredibly difficult to just be alive in the world and to be a mother and to take the amount of shit that I have to take. I'm raising all kinds of boys, and it's not easy in any sense of the word to have people casually mention things, to belittle things in the way that they do, and to call things that take monumental effort a little march, and to do things that aren't very comfortable. I don't like, and it all just kind of piled up on me yesterday, and I just felt like I'd had enough, and I just needed to exclaim something, and that was what came out of me, and I'm very surprised that that was what it was, but it made me want to take a minute and kind of focus in on that and go, okay, well, let's talk about that. Let's find out what that's about. And it's mostly about my impatience. Like when I sit with that and I investigate what's up, it's just I'm impatient. I'm angry that I can still receive shit and still have the problems that I had before, and I'm a whole different person than I was before in my mind. Like the way that I present to the world is vastly different than it used to be. My capacity is much larger. A shiver of fear used to run over me when I would see someone in like a scooter out in public because I'd be like, God, that's my future. It really seemed like that was the way it was going to go because of my weight and also because of my disabilities and the hip problems and the knee problems that are actually just getting worse the more weight that I lose, which is quite bothersome as well. Just the literal amount of pain that I'm in day to day is just mind boggling to me. I don't even know how. I'm thankful that I have the outlets that I've created for myself. And I think I actually need a few more like this right here. This is an outlet for me. The idea that what I'm speaking right now is being listened to by other people and it may help you somehow makes my pain worthwhile, in my opinion, makes what I go through, the reason behind it needs to be this. I need to be able to give this to other people and to have you see, like, hey, you can go through this and other people are going through this and you can be okay at the end. And it's not okay if people are treating you badly, no matter what you're going through. And like, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a tiny, tiny, no extra fat on you person to be treated well. And trust me, they are also treated badly. And that's something we need to talk about. We need to draw stark contrast to understand, like, even people with no excess fat on their bodies are treated incredibly badly in this world, the way that it's set up. And I think that that's ridiculous because from the perspective of a fat person, which is what I can technically fully talk about, it is brutal. It is brutal out here because we're fat. We think that that's the reason. But then when you're thin, there's just different reasons, right? Because then they'll go after your personality. They'll go after whether you're driven or not driven. They actually will think about the other things about you, right? So it just makes people have to work a little bit harder to insult you, but they'll get it done. Don't worry. They're more than willing to spend all the effort possible to find a way to insult you and make fun of you for being whatever it is that you are. All while they will not change. They will not do anything different for themselves. They will just continue to be mean people that exist, and that's the problem, right? That's the biggest issue is we have more of an ability to speak to one another than we ever have before, and we use it to be cruel to one another. We use it to absolutely dog people down and make you think that kind of a thing, and this illogical perception that once you lose weight that no one will have a problem with you, everybody will just be happy with you, is wrong. It's truly wrong, and it will not lead to success to think that way. And that's why I'm mentioning it. That's why I'm bringing it up, because we need to have success in the world. We need to have things that give us the chemicals, right? Because that's really what we're all, if we boil it all down, the brain is just seeking chemicals, is seeking stimulation in some kind of a way. And that's for everyone, whether or not you're ADHD or anything. And like your brain is just seeking chemicals. And most of the time, people just get them from being alive. They're just fine. Their day to day things give them whatever. And then you get an extra dose of everything. Well, you get an extra issue if you are ADHD or any kind of a mixture of those things, or one of them alone. Like you got some stuff. And I genuinely just believe that's trauma. And I need to manufacture more things for myself to get some kind of release, because the if the artist does not create it, the artistry will create you. And I have already created such a ridiculous, terrible, dysmorphic version of myself, and like forced that through the world, sweating and nervous and terrified, not feeling fit to leave the house because I shouldn't have people looking at me, because I can feel your judgment on me when I look at you and you look at me and perceive me. And it's a very, very difficult thing to have that happen. And I've heard people talk about the autistic like dislike of perception and being perceived thing, and it's not until it was made flesh for me and I it finally clicked in my head like what that actually is, because I just didn't. Here's what it is: it's not feeling fit to have other people look at you. And I don't feel fit to have other people look at me most of the time. I have to have a very specific amount of things done and accomplished before I feel confident enough to leave the house. I have to have myself clean. I have to be fresh from the shower that day to leave the house. I have to make sure, absolutely make sure that I don't smell, that I don't have all kinds of things. And like there is a fuzzy apocalypse everywhere. We vacuum constantly. We are a clean home. We don't have things everywhere, and all of our clothes everywhere. And because they're not super expensive, pure quality. They're the low quality things are getting to the point where fuzzies are everywhere, all over everything. Everything that's super comfortable for me to wear is just a fuzzy producing machine, and it's horrific. I've been starting to get rid of everything because of it. Because it's like, what do you mean you're forcing me to spend outrageous amounts of money on fabric because I don't want to live inhaling tiny little particles of fucking what are those little tiny you know what I'm talking about, and they're all over everything. All my favorite things pill now too. Like all my favorite comfortable hoodies, I wear them. They pill up underneath the arms. They pill all the way down everywhere that gets friction. Shit used to not do that. We're just putting plastic in everything, and we're just inhaling it and wallowing in plastic. It's so fucking frustrating. It really is. And I try to be a voice of light and hope in the world, but this one's just a frustrated rant. Honestly, I tried. I tried to paint it in a way like, oh, yeah, we can come together. But I'm just mad. I'm mad for on the behalf of everybody and myself and my poor, poor broken heart, that all of my dreams and all of the things that I want, I have to hurt immensely to get them, and I didn't know that. I don't want it to be like that. I wish it weren't like that, and I'm pretty fucking bummed about it, to be honest with you. But that's just the way it is today, and I've already done my effort. I've already worked out. I've already done the things that I needed to do, and I'm gonna do more. But like it's genuinely quite sad to me that this is the state of where things are. Like your best effort has to continue and persist forever. Then I can't. The thing about this is that I'm not going to be able to quit on myself if I want to get anywhere. I'm going to have to get up and do her again tomorrow. I'm going to have to get her up and do her again the day after that. I'm going to have to just not ever. There won't be. And the thing that needs to get into my brain is that there will not come a time that my effort will stop, because the moment that I stop my effort, I'll just go back to the way that it was before, won't I? Because that never goes away. Even if years later, those habits existed within you. Those roads you have traveled, they will not close over and become impossible to achieve for you. I could slide backwards. And that is a reality for multiple people who try and fight and scrape and scratch and do everything that they got to do to lose the weight. And then, oh, if they've suffered themselves too, if you've starved yourself, if you have belittled yourself into doing it, if you've bullied yourself into getting to wherever you are, you're not going to stay there, hon. You're not. Man, woman, doesn't matter. They, them, anyone, it does not matter. You are not going to get anywhere with yourself if you're willing to be mean. Even in my terrible frustration, I can find that out. Even in my, oh my God, it's all fucked, I can't believe whatever. If I bring that back down to myself and I sit with that for a moment, I understand I've got to persist. I've got to continually persist, because if not, if I don't change my own life, it's going to stay the way that it was. And I hated that too. I don't like it here in the middle. I don't like it in the transition when everything's difficult and when my husband's giving me problems, my children are giving me problems, and I feel like it's too much and I'm like, fuck, and then I have to have this worry about myself and I have to have all this concentration on myself. And then other people need me to concentrate on them and it's like I feel so frustrated that I can't do everything all at once. And I just needed to tell you about it, I guess. I just needed to hear you needed to hear me tell you. I needed to say it and you needed to hear it. If you're here listening to this point, then you needed to hear it too. You need to know that there are other people. And I'm not a magically smart person. I'm not a super wealthy person. I'm just a person in the world with such passion in my heart for just trying to care about people. And I sincerely believe that everybody that puts such a focus on being cared, caring for other people really genuinely needs to be cared for themselves. And I am a great example of that. I genuinely need to be cared about too. And I need to feel cared about. And I have to do that for myself because I don't think anybody else is going to do it right. And like, what are we doing? We're doing everything we can for ourselves. That's what we're doing. And if you're not, you can start. You can start in a small way. You can do the smallest thing. And I'm going to tell you right now, the way that my weight loss journey began was around this time last year. I was in such incredible pain from my lower back, and it was sending just sparks down my right leg, and I just could not handle it. Every day I'd get up, and the pain would wake me up, and I'd moan in my sleep when I'd wake up because I'd be like, "Oh." And then the moment that I would get out of bed, it was just a fight to get to the point of being in my chair. And then I would sit and just be in my chair and be miserable. And the only thing that I had was eating, and that's the smallest encapsulated way that I could tell you the snapshot of my life at this time last year was that. And I didn't get to feel proud of myself any time in a day. I didn't get to feel happy about any of the way that I was. I wasn't showering as often as I should have been because of the amount of pain that I was in, and I was angry at everyone. Everyone all the time I was disappointed with them. I was not excited to do anything. I felt like there were chains all over me and that I was inhibiting myself because I didn't feel like certain things were in my place to do and in my power to do, and I was sad. And I saw a picture of Adele. I saw a picture of Adele and I saw how beautiful she is and how thin she looked. And I was just, for the first time, I was like, oh my God. Instead of being viciously angry with her for losing weight, because I felt represented by her back in the day, I was like, you know what? I can just be her. I can just look at her and I can do that. And then I started to grab heroes, right? I started to, because it took me a while to really, really embrace my love of Brittany Broski. She was very annoying to me at first. And I love you, Brittany. If there's no way in the world you'll ever hear this, but I love her so much because she's younger than I am. And she has really just her success and her existence has given me permission to have my own. And I can't tell you how grateful I am to her for that. To every woman that has been out there and dared greatly to represent me and to represent every woman like me, I thank you from the bottom of my heart because I needed that so much. I needed people to care about me that didn't even care. You don't know me. You didn't you in your mind, in your abject mind, you did that because you were thinking of people like you. Here I am. Here is a person like you, touched by you and able to change their life because you gave me the example, because I saw how thin Brittany was getting even then. And she's even more thin now. And it's just, I'm so proud of her. And the thing that she said on not on her podcast, somebody else's like interview podcast thing, she said, she cries in the bar method. She does the bar method and she's like, I thank you for showing up for yourself. And that has been a thing for me now. I cry over the thought of hearing Brittany Broski say to me in my mind, because I can hear her clearly in my mind say, thank you for showing up for yourself. And I'm just like, okay, me and Brittany, we're gonna do it. Me and Brittany are gonna, like we're gonna be up there with Adele someday and we're gonna be like, hell yeah, girls, we did it. And to see Brittany accept herself and to be okay with everything about her and to just be loudly herself is just so healing to me, in the way that I grew up about being, inhibited and forced to be one way. And it's just beautiful. And I thank her for it. And I don't care how many people get annoyed with her. I don't care how many people dislike her or, whatever else. I love her intellectualism and I love the fact that she is just herself, and that she's been given a platform to be herself so that I can see it, because that representation matters more than anything I could tell you. Is that I was like, here is an example of someone just living their truth and people love them for it. And I thought, well, let me see if I can do that. Let me see if I can live my truth. I always wanted to. I always wanted to just do this and speak to people and put it out there and put myself out there. And I just never gave myself the chance. And here we are. And this long, giant ramble for no reason other than that I was upset. Is anyone even going to hear it? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I'm putting this intention out in the universe that I'm going to be this. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk to you in whatever way I can, in whatever facet that you'll have me. I'm just going to talk to you because I can't live knowing that I gave up on it and I never did what was in my heart to do. So, even though today was rough and I have a lot on my heart, I will never stop fighting for you, for me, for Brittany Broski, for Adele, for anybody else that might have been my hero or might become my hero, anybody that I've ever cared about, and anybody that has ever existed in the world. We can all do better and we can figure it out together. And I love you.